Game 1, Final Four, 3 o'clock Pacific Saturday. Let's start early. Gonzaga in South Carolina, live odds, sportsbookreview.com. Zag 6.5, 138.5 the total. The defensive matchup, a classic. Throw up this graphic. How about these numbers? Overall defense, number 1 against number 2. Effective field goal percentage, number 1 against number 12. 3-point percentage and 2-point percentage. You see the breakdown there. But they do it with a different style. Turnover percentage, the Zags 222. South Carolina 4th. The Zags don't press, and they rely on setting up their size in half court. But once in half court, they get physical. You got Matthews 6'4", Goss 6'3", Perkins and Nelson 6'4". And you see the front court rotation. Karnowski 7'1", Williams 6'9", Collins 7 feet tall. And you have Tilly, who's 6'10 as well, Teddy. This is a great defense. Number 1, obviously, the stats don't lie with this defense.
Well, it's so funny because when you read the mainstream articles and when you're watching the mainstream talking heads on TV, it's all about South Carolina's defense. And, oh, look at what South Carolina's defense. Gonzaga has better stats defensively in this tournament than South Carolina does. They have better stats for the season defensively than South Carolina does. What they don't do is create the turnovers. They don't force get the easy fast break buckets. They just play really tough half-court defense. They do it every single night. And a lot of it has to do with that size that teams struggle with, as you mentioned. When you got 4 guys standing 6'9" or taller who get playing time, and all of your guards stand 6'3" or taller, you got the size in the wings, you have the size in the post, and teams have struggled against that. Even good offensive teams have struggled against that size all season long. You talk about Karnowski, a guy who now has 135 career wins. That's number 1 all time in the history of the NCAA, breaking Shane Battier's record at 131. And this is a guy who came back after fusion surgery for a back injury. Mark Few, literally, we were rooting for him to come back from that and just be able to function and have a normal life. There was not basketball involved. So to see a guy come back from that type of an injury, carry his team to the Final Four, let's give him credit. It's a nice story. And the Zags finally getting over the hump. That's a nice story too, but not going to be easy to get past this Gamecocks team.
Well, the problem for South Carolina, they're great at scoring off of turnovers, but the half-court offense, not good. And they need to be able to drive the ball to the basket, and they've struggled when they've had to go against size. If you throw this graphic up, look at the big difference on offense. Overall, 13 to 104, effective field goal percentage, 6 to 299, 3-point percentage, 2-point percentage. You see that in the schedule. It's adjusted for schedule, but the Zags not quite as good when you look at that breakdown too. But also, Teddy, this will be key. How are the refs going to call this?
And in my mind, that's one of the key handicaps of the ballgame. When you talk about free throw attempts to field goal attempts, these come some of your better indicators to give you an idea of how a team is going to be called. So Gonzaga defensively, and it's an awkward chart in some sense, but they're number 16 in the country. So they don't give up a ton of free throw attempts. South Carolina, and we've seen it throughout the course of this tournament, number 334 in the country. They give up a ton of free throw attempts. So if the refs aren't swallowing their whistles and are blowing the whistles, that certainly bodes well for the Gonzaga defense. I'm going to go back very briefly to the last chart that we put up. You talked about the overall defense versus the effective. Only the overall numbers are adjusted for schedule. So the Zags may not be quite as good, the 99 overall schedule, and South Carolina not quite as bad because they face the number 28 schedule as they show. But let's not forget, in addition, the South Carolina stats are going to include layups and dunks off of turnovers that make their offense perhaps look a little bit better than it actually is. But, if South Carolina is not getting turnovers, and they're not getting a ton of free throws, the load's going to fall here on Sindarius Thornwell. He's had a heck of a tournament, Paulie. But, 103 points, 30 rebounds, 10 assists, 8 steals, 4 blocks. Yeah, he's had a heck of a tournament. He could be a guy who was the MVP of the SEC during the regular season, but that's a lot for Thornwell to do it again here in a Final Four setting after carrying the team the first 4 games.
Hey guys, for the full video, go to sbrpicks.com.
Hey, Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.